for illumined life to be birthed into form. I am the truth. I am the light. Illumined, beloved divine.
So hello there everyone, and welcome to this beautiful video and view in the mountains and the Alps today. I thought I will complete my current retreat weather-wise and just really felt called to go hiking as I used to do before and start my physical body training and upsurge of that vitality. So it was time for a boost, and as I was walking up the hill, I was getting this beautiful summarization of this whole union's journey. And actually, as the singing creation angel Aurea sang this beautiful song of life, the spirit of life moved me again through song. And there was this beautiful song of New Dawn. So she would give me these songs as impulses when like a new cycle is being moved, or I'm moving into a new cycle and the whole of creation is moving into a new cycle. So this was an interesting song and melody, kind of felt very joyful, very joyous indeed. And it was about this golden tree of life and family of golden souls being together once again. So it is an interesting experience here for me today. It's pretty windy, so I do apologize on the behalf of winds today, and they're doing quite an amount of fake weather today, so it is what it is. Everything is encircled. But today I want to give a brief overview of this summarization of the union's journey. So for those of you who are maybe new, or you don't yet understand these things such as aspects, Elohim, the seed of life, the seed of creation, the Illumined template design, as you know, I share everything in alignment with when I'm experiencing something. So when I was going through my own initiations and experiences along those lines, that's when I shared specific something. So maybe those of you who are very much in this rapid accelerated phase or stage of being, going through notions of your changes, you don't always have to watch just videos that I share here now, because I always share where I am. And right now for me, this is completion. This is Illumined Unit at its finest. So that's what I'm talking about basically most of the time. But those of you who feel called, just go back a while and go through the videos, browse through that which entices you or lures you in, because that's exactly what you need. There's a lot of portal wisdom, creation aspects, Elohim, these things, and let's say a little years back, that's dated materials, as well as those of you who are interested in creation principles through stories, very simplistic stories of the Elohim design. They're actually shared as these MP3 audio files, and they're accessible on my webpage under books. And these are actually audiobooks. They are mini audiobooks with channeled information from the grand design level, which is the Elohim life giver level, which basically in such a simplistic way and form describes many of the things such as creation rays, illumined seed template, illumined body, volunteer souls, training for volunteer souls, galactic beings and rays, and all these things, right? They're all there. Also the Holy Grail wisdom, the Christ lineage seed, all these things are just basically there for those of you who just feel that this life is not just what it looks like on the surface. Many of you are waking up to that level of reality, that we're not just here to walk our daily day-to-day lives and that's all there is. Actually, as a creation pillar incarnation in this life, I was blessed with the most profound life. When I first moved to these Alps, now I think I should safe to say 8 years ago, I think, yeah, because it was actually, it was exactly 8 years ago. It was 2013. In August 17th, I believe. And this is my initiation, roundabout, around which my life kind of is encircled. And so these are usually my most breakthrough points. It's at the same time frame that I actually created Ascension Pioneers in 2011. So it's all kind of revolving around that special point of life initiation for me personally. So it's like until I came to this space, for me also, I was just an awakening human. But the moment I stepped into my portal, it's like a whole new world was revealed to me. A world of creation angels, light beings, portals, and all of these things were entrusted upon me because of my mission. And throughout my initiations, I shared every single one of these secrets into the piercing through this, what we call the mundane 3D reality, into the realm of spirits. Because literally for those 7 years and ongoing, I lived in the realm of spirits. I was a part of these spirits and their training and what they shared with me. So in the overview, because I'm one of these beings, and basically I'm just a human incarnation of those beings, and basically I'm not just one of them, but I was, as I was shown in my own creation story, Remembrance, through the Cosmic Christ activation, which basically is your entire galactic memory lineage traced back. And once you start to remember truly who you are and the entire design and what brought you here, for many of you volunteer souls, you might start to remember. And those of you who are just souls who've had your evolutionary lifetimes on earth and you're ready to awaken to something more, that's also beautiful, because in the end, the tree of life is bringing many, many beings together in a joint effort, in a joint union of, it's like communion of worlds, truly. And today I want to talk about this Illumined Union and what was revealed to me and through me through Aurea and her ingenious, brilliant, intelligent design, because she is top-notch for me. She's just an incredible, amazing being, and I am, of course, her, and just the human aspect, and even that human aspect being so powerful, then imagine her in all of her glory, all of her spirit presence to design all of that. And in truth, it's just because beings like that, who are illumined beings, they serve God. They're not ETs. They're not beings who serve specific ET-aligned agendas. These are beings who serve directly God. And sometimes we know them under terms of, angels or the royal angelics, not the fallen angels who turned out to be many, many also versions that we know as ET beings. They've interacted with creation in a way that they created their physical aspects as well, which became many, many offspring of ET beings. So they have their own personal agendas, but these agendas no longer align with the divine plan or the great design of our beloved Creator God, one God Almighty. So Aurea and many of my comrades and our comrades, truly these amazing beings, we serve directly God, and we're direct extensions of God because of that. And that's why our plan is directly the plan of God. So we're entrusted with beautiful wisdom and sharing, and wisdom that's so profound that not everyone would get, because they're simply not pure in that level of knowing what God and God's intelligence is. So in my life, I had to be very faithful. I had to be very alone and isolated to actually get to those things. But even in all of my aloneness, I was never lonely. So I'm looking back in my life now, doing a little bit of that retrospective and going through some of the things that basically made me and my life so different and unique from all of the lifetimes that, I've met so many people along this path, and every one of them was different. They did not necessarily have to be as alone and isolated as I was, but it's because I was the first one who actually helped to build this portal in assistance with these amazing light beings, these incredible beings. So when someone actually, that being I've talked about, they stepped into this portal here, it's basically an extended portal, and it moves through the reaches of these alpine spaces that move between Slovenia, Italy, and Austria. It's like, it's a space that moves, and it was helping to extend further out the borders of this portal, so that we could strengthen the connection with this world, so that the world of light beings would be more familiar and introduced to the world of the human design and the human nature, so the worlds could be blending in together. There would not be so much separation anymore, which it existed because of so many agendas of the fallen ones. They've tried to hijack and interact with humanity in such a way that they would take away the wisdom of illumined light beings, and they would break the connection with so many of us who have our offspring or family seated here on earth as well, because eons ago, that's, soul extensions we've sent out here as aspects of ourselves. When you look at the bigger, much bigger creator story picture, right? One breath, one spirit of life that joins and unites all of us together as one. So in a way, you know, my desire was to truly super extend this knowledge and wisdom and to pass it along. And when that person, and they stepped into a portal, they actually heard, well, this is Aurea's portal actually. And just today I've actually told the being, you know, it's our portal. I've just was the one who's helped building it. And because of that, I was very much alone. And that was basically my marriage. I was married to my mission. I was married to my integration work and to what Aurea wanted from me and what this human life had to become. But it was just the way I was chosen, and I was chosen one for that specific assignment. And now so many more beings can start interacting, and I feel there's much easing up in spite of all differences, because, you know, Aurea, she worked against all odds, and she basically created things as miracles out of thin air, out of nothing. And now they're leaving a legacy, which is something I've talked about in the previous video, so that many more volunteer souls, let's say light beings in training who are just beginning their training on Earth, they would have an easier path, that it would be easier for them to plug into the portal wisdom, and that would already be all they're seated. So it would be much of a more rapid acceleration for them, as well as the Earth humans. And you know, no one is fully of Earth, but these souls that have developed and they know themselves more human than galactic, right? Or light being, because they were more dense. They were more in these dense experiences of matter. That's how they've explored creation. So for them, they've experienced themselves more as an earth seed, not so much as a star seed. And this is something, as I've explained, that Aurea worked very tightly, very diligently to bring together the close proximity and the connections between those of us who are just one family, but we sometimes are perceiving ourselves as earth humans and then star-born humans. And in a way, what Illumined Union is, it bridges the gap between that separation, which is such an old doctrine that's basically needed to be faded out. And I hope that during my lifetime, I was able to bring that, to bridge that gap, to bring these Illumined Union wisdoms, you know, like bring them closer together, bring them closer to the human heart as well, not just to that of the volunteer galactic family coming here with their training and their fast moving, accelerated energy, light bodies and energetic fields they're creating as extensions of themselves, but also for those earth humans who are becoming more and more starborn themselves, as they're taking upon the Illumined seed template within themselves in this merging process, right? As you know, I've never talked about union from the twin flame perspective, because for me, union as an Illumined union was shown as, wow, I can't even put it into words, but it was this whole integrative journey experience that all levels needed to become one. And the union needed to be reached on all levels, which is the levels of human. You would go from 13 density space, which is like pure source, knowing ourselves as a creator offspring, as a creator God. That's the potential that exists for everyone, every individual being who's in training to become a sovereign being, and then extending themselves beyond that as well. And also for you know, what we know as lower densities. So Illumined Union means that the entanglement that we know sometimes is this quantum entanglement had to be reached at all of these levels. In my life, that played out as Aurea said to me that the masculine and feminine polarities needed to be merged and from this higher aspects of union and be brought down to what we call the lower planes of reality and seated right back to the anchor that was 3D. So 3D needed to become an anchored experience, or the seeding experience for that which we know as the higher realms or illuminating realms. And in a way that was difficult for me to experience in my earth human form, because I know myself directly as an Illumined being, so it was hard to, let's say, build relationships. Me as a woman, let's say, build relationships with human men as that counterpart, yeah? So it was difficult because, in a way, I experienced that through essence, and Aurea has been finding a way to merge my essence with that which is more earth-based 3D essence. But for me, it was difficult because a part of me was so well established within myself. I just didn't need that. It was like, nope, I don't want that. I want to be in my pure space. So a huge part of me was like avoiding that or pushing it away. And it was a part of my human training, like a part of Aurea that became human, to let go of all these barriers that still are somehow in between the earth seed and the star seed. So from my own experience right now, what I've seen was just incredible. And I had to go through this let's say, with a being that was somehow chosen for me and I was chosen for them, and basically it was a soul agreement. And during that process, I had to feel the essence of my beloved coming through that being and basically enmeshed that experience. It's kind of like you color it golden, right? You bring that gold illumined essence through that. And if you're able to pull that through that 3D counterpart, then you can win. And that's when Aurea said to me that the deepest desire within me, and I felt this as myself in my human aspect, that I really had this desire to merge with someone who's more 3D based at every single level. So there would be no more opposition, no more deflecting, no more separation. There'd just be this field of unity and union with that divine love flowing in between the two of us. And it's difficult because Earth humans are more attached to like they have more karma, they've accrued more karma, and they're more attached to things like physical things they need and possessions and, you know, all these things that are just make you human, right? When you're exploring yourself as a 3D being. And it was difficult for me because I don't have any of this. So it was difficult actually for Aurea through me to establish this sort of union, because a part of me was like, rejecting that. And then when you reject, the other of course rejects as well. It's just how it is. So recently, when I finally was able to dismantle everything of the dark, because the darkness was trying to hijack that love that Aurea imbued, like she imbued her essence upon and through that being and through myself. And it's almost like darkness tried to hijack this on every single level so that I wouldn't know that union. And the union, of course, is an internal space of existence when an earth child, when an earth-born human, in this case me, is able to birth union at every single level, which means from 13 density octave, which is that plugging directly into source in this realm, in this universe, in this galaxy, then bringing it to the far reaches of this plane of reality, and you can find a counterpart, which is, you know, the opposite gender, and you can merge those polarities, blend them in, and you create a state of union with the flow of interaction of love is complete. There's no more obstruction. Even if the darkness tries, in my case, it tried very hard, because I was told that once this Illumined union occurs, it's not just two people coming together to share life or, you know, whatever, which is what many say, well, the twin is bringing the 5 density into 3rd density. An Illumined union is bringing all densities together at the core level, at the lumen seed level, which is the inner cosmic golden Christ. And when that golden Christ light can be emanating and can exude itself through any sorts of polarity entanglement, which means, let's say in my case, it was a being born of all dimensional realities and spaces, and then needing to have that mirrored and reflected back to me, even if the experience is, let's say, of a 3rd density experiencing as self human, right, or human experiencing themselves as still just within 3rd density. Of course, I'm not saying there's higher intelligences present, but the primary embodiment, right, where the density is of the body, where the body is locked in which density, right, concurrently, that's the 3D. And it was very difficult for me, but that's exactly what actually Aurea wanted for the mission to be complete. And because it was so difficult, I had to be alone in my life and be trained so well, so that once the moment arrived and I was ready for that, then all my space would be just cleared for that. And it was difficult because in the last few months, the darkness was trying super hard to hijack that and made me not feel the love within my vessel that I was holding for that specific individual and for that level of union that Aurea wanted to birth through me, so that her golden love can just move and just, you know, unify. Because a lot of people don't understand this, because they have this sort of, higher versus lower. No, it's just different aspects of experience. And they were all valid, and they were all necessary from the perspective of source. Otherwise, we would not have this experience, right? This would not be happening. But from the perspective of illumined beings, there had to come a point in time, right? We've talked about the golden tree of life and this archway that's the golden gate of ascension. It's like we had to accrue enough of the light quotient intelligence, not just by those of us who are already illumined beings, but specific beings who are, like, let's say, on the verge of their turnover or turnaround, and they're shifting reality. And if that could be done, specifically performed at the 3D level, that's what my team explained to me. They said, we have a golden victory And this is why the darkness worked so hard, like what we call the devil, the oppressors, the transgressors. They worked hard at every level, and they try to make my life more difficult and complicated than it actually was, so I wouldn't see how simple this truth is. And the truth is, like, if you're able to cultivate the seed of love, and I had to actually know myself through the eyes of the other, and I had to know the earth human beloved for me as well, not just the galactic or my cosmic beloved, which I already have, or my tantric twin and all of that. That was easy for me because I'm always in that communion, but this was the difficult part. And this is what actually I was chosen for, that specific assignment, because let me tell you, it's not easy for an illumined light being. So when we were actually doing some channeling, she saw me like there was a contract, and I was grieving over it and was crying rivers and tears. And then I looked back at myself when I finally left, when the work was complete. I looked back and I said to myself, see, I told you this was the hardest one ever so far, because it really was hard, especially for my human counterpart to experience, because Aurea's vision was grand. It was, let's say, it was top notch. It was difficult, but it's like they told me if one being could achieve that and bring the template of illumination to the joint union of couplings, of a pairing of two, let's say if this can be achieved, like when the division between what we call realms, right? The interdimensional spaces, like one is completely open and activated in that terminology, and the other one's like asleep, but you can still have the union, the love still binds you together. Then we prove to the darkness that love is the ultimate glue. And it's not always just about the awareness, which is what darkness is trying to portray here, that this love is the ultimate, and it's love that shifts, and it's love that brings these souls together in union, and it's love that interflows, like flows between this golden infinity loop that I was shown as the vertical and horizontal, right? That's in all my paintings, in all my drawings, as the symbol for Illumined Union is one, and then the other two golden white infinity symbols interlocking. So you have this union achieved vertically and horizontally, but also at all densities and all dimensional spaces. This is the most difficult task in this universe to achieve, I'm being shown. And the moment I got this, it's like all the burden to understand was unleashed, was released from me, from my human self. And I saw this great vision of that being successful, and how this type of union creates a sort of like binding glue mechanism between us as souls. So today when I sang that song of dawn, it was almost like Aurea said, this is the song of new dawn, this new Aurea song, which is literally us connected as one at the trunk of this golden tree of life, which is like, the words were also about, this is the life that we now deserve because we've created it. It was very beautiful. I don't remember it because I was walking up this steep hill and I just started singing, and I don't know why, but I'm always channeling my most profound guidance when I'm walking or running, or just moving energy, or talking. Sometimes like when I have one-on-one sessions, right, I plug into individual, I just start talking and everything is unleashed. It's like a floodgate is open, and it's just very natural for me. It's very organic. But it's like a lot of people don't understand that Illumined Union is much bigger because it involves all levels, all densities, and all dimensional realities. It's not you meeting a person and binding yourself for life with them. It's much more complex. So my human self feels at times I'm with this 3D beloved, but I'm also with my counterpart that's my tantric twin, which became very confusing for me sometimes. And I was like, what is this? And Aurea always tells me, just focus on the love. Don't think about it. This is not for you with your pretty little head to figure out. And it's like, it's just very natural. She tells me, just feel the love, feel the love. It's not one or the other, it's all as one. Because as multidimensional being and beings, a lot of you are also already multidimensional beings, and some of you will get there, you will get to the truth of how we are truly, and how love is so vast and universal. We're not like bonded to someone and we made for life, and it's bigger than that. It's aspects, it's levels, right? It's realms. And it's almost like in each realm, union has to be complete. So my goal, my role in this life as the chosen one for the Illumined Union seed of life was to bring the seed of illumination to the densest point of reality, to the densest form of what we call a human relationship, and basically interlock, create an infinite looping and interaction and interlocked energetics, which basically creates what we call the lover's essence. The lover's is not just a card or energy expression. It's an archetype that's timeless. So you can build something like that, and it's organic because it flows through love of source. It's not created as an artifact, right? It's not artificial or constructed, which is what the Matrix is doing. And because of that, the Matrix wants to keep a lot of people in these karmic relationships that are very dense, so they couldn't see how love is vast and how love is universal. And I always came into this reality from a more open, fluid space of love. I wasn't so much like bonded, like, I focused on someone, and my love went to so many people and conjoined with so many people, so many counterparts. And that basically something that Aurea was doing through me, and it was organic for me to feel that state of love because I was meant to have that purpose in that realm in existence of how love truly is and how multiversal and multifaceted love is, and we are as beings of love. So in a way, a part of this Illumined Union was to show the darkness that even though they're trying to hijack many souls, once we achieve Illumined Union, they can no longer penetrate this hijacking like reality that they so firmly believe in and they're so aggressively pursuing, is because it's almost like we're a natural protection for each other. And hence she was building, in alignment with the divine plan and many illumined beings, this illumined golden tree of life. And so Illumined Union, she said to me, like, once my love as Aurea and as you, Polona Aurea, can penetrate and move into the densest of aspects, then you're truly free. And only then you're truly an illumined being on earth as well. Like the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Life, the Giver of Life. It's not just when you can conjure up your high beloved that you're already aware of and you can be in that space, but then you're pushed into a more extreme and more challenging space and you can no longer feel that love. That's when only then, and only then, through God's words, a union is complete and one is born through the seed of illumination. And that's what I've completed now, because my love, finally I'm feeling I'm finally the chosen one, truly, not just like it's a mission and I'm going there, but I've managed to fulfill that because all I feel now is this open state of, it's almost like I'm with God again in the physical. I am a divine channel again, but not just a channel, an embodiment. And I feel that love and it's ongoing and it's just constant and it's pouring. And it's no longer that state of confusion that, the devil is trying to create all the time with this messy distortions that are basically just, they're unreal. They don't exist. They're just ghosts of some past, And so with all of that, I just feel such completion achieved in my life. And that's why I'm probably just looking back at many things in my life, because I'm at that stage of my life, hopefully before an early retirement in that sense. And it's almost like I feel that because my human child, my human vessel, was so sacrificial in that way, and it went all the way, even though it was so difficult with everything that was bombarded and sent and threw at me at the human level, because it was just so devoted to this, that now because of that, my human self gets to be rewarded. And I do get to experience beloved on every single level, and I do get to meet and have that beloved as well physically. But it's just something that yesterday it really hit me hard, because I saw myself like that part of me that was also a 3D part of me and conjoined with that 3D masculine. And it was almost like a part of me splintered off there and stays there forever now. It's like it's interlocked. Right? But it's no longer looping. It created an infinity symbol out of that looping formation. And it's almost like it now became this permanent thing. It's no longer just an impermanent whim, right? But it's a permanent, stabilized connection born of Illumined Union template, which will move out into many, many unions to come about physically, and many beings experiencing themselves through Illumined Union, not just what people call twin flames. This is much bigger, my beloveds. It's like, it's just vast, and that's why I talk about it from the perspective of the mission that was given to me through the seed of illumination of God. And so I was shown, like, a part of me went there. It's almost like splintered off, like it was a fractal. It's not born of separation, because fractals, each one has the inscription of the bigger one, and they just move on and super extend themselves, and it's like a fractal vision. So a part of me splintered off there and has that beloved reality and stays there, and a part of me moves now into the next picture and the next passageway for me. So this was just so beautiful, and the moment you get there, it's like you realize, but I was already there. Everything already is there, because like it's what source is. Like this constant love being exchanged, and without any form of attachment and bondage. It's just so beautiful. And when you can experience that, you really become the chosen one, the ultimate divine child of love, of grace, of mercy, of compassion. And there's nothing but just ultimate knowing. And that knowing is not the same as knowledge. It's knowing of the truth that is illumined. It's knowing of your illumined heart and what illumined union truly is. So I do look forward to things extending and expanding through the love in times to come. But I also have to tell you something, that this work that Aurea was building is not just meant for now. This work that we were actually doing and being shown was very much focused on the future. It's like future oriented. And I know most people in the New Age say there is no future, there's just the now. Yeah, the infinite now. It's not as easy, because you have to understand realities and complex nature of source and dimensionalities to understand that there is no such thing as just the now. Yes, for you to actually understand yourself and become embodied, you have to see yourself in the now. But you have to know, all of us who are greater sovereign beings, we work with life force. And life force is and has to be used with predicament, which means there needs to be a level of prophetic vision and future-wise seeing. That's seership, right? It's a form of futuristic viewing, because you have to understand the potentials. Future is potentiality, and all greater evolved beings actually work through potentiality, because they have to see what will be the best version of refinement of where to actually use and how to potentialize life force, so that something of a greater creation can come about. So it's not all just about in the now, because if you're only in the now, you're not creating, right? All the visions, everything you're dreaming, it's all like picking up from that which we call future, right? It's like a greater potential. And maybe the future is a false term, it's not the proper word, but there is no such thing as just the now. All beings work with potentials, and potential can, in the simplest or some more simplistic words of explanation, can be proclaimed in that way, that it is diving into potentialities and choosing the best one, which is like higher learning and training for those who are more advanced soul beings comes about. And once you're a sovereign being, you establish yourself as not just the soul spark that's aimlessly moving throughout the universe, but you become a sovereign being. You disentangle yourself from all that is dark, all that is hijacked, all that is superficial, and all that is constructed and inception. Then you are on your way to becoming a sovereign being. And we've talked about that years back. So those of you who are just beginning, you're going to have to go back, I hope these videos will stay here even when maybe I'm no longer available in that terms, or maybe people who will be passing this on. But my desire is for those beings who are part of this path and they will walk the road less traveled, will understand that the legacy was created and that it was a difficult work. It was a labor of love, not just of Aurea, but many, many numerous beautiful light beings, that just incredible beings who are all serving God. And we did this work, this was our level, this was our creation. And that creation is not to just be, it's not ours, because you have to understand the nature of God. God creates, but then God moves on. When a part of God, let's say Aurea is a part of God, just like you are, your own sovereign part of God, and then you move on and someone else gets to experience that creation, maybe it wouldn't be you, but there would be others playing in that creation, and then others would, because they're being uplifted in that creation, what's been created through God, and seeing that reflection of themselves as that God spark, then they start creating as well. See, that's kind of understanding of a much greater, bigger picture reality that's connecting all of us together as these amazing beings. And the moment you understand yourself as a much vaster presence than just this human body and life, and that's all you are and live, then you will know so much more about the great mysteries of life and the spirit of life in Illumined Union. So that's it for today. I don't want to go much deeper, because you know me, I can go on and on. I have so much wisdom in those terms, but I will only leave you with that. Yes, my retreat, I guess it's coming to an end, because the weather is coming to an end. So I am kind of dependable on the good weather if I want to retreat and, go to these beautiful spaces and do my channelings outdoors and so. But it will continue. So I will have some time to finish some of the things in my work that I couldn't do before. And I will talk to you once again when I do. Until we meet again, stay focused, stay present, and know that everything I've been teaching is a part of my patron work, Illumined Ascension and Union. Extra videos there. So many of my videos, if you go years back when I've talked about these things and the principles of life and the Elohim and creation principles. Don't forget the audiobooks, because they have so much wisdom in them. Those of you who are interested, if you're only looking at these videos I share here, you're following the journey and you're just listening. But if you want to go deeper, I suggest you start somewhere, and that's a beautiful way to start, to see what an amazing design our beautiful creation is. And it's all thanks to this amazing divine intelligence we call God, or source of life, or the spirit of life, whatever we call it. So thank you for being here. I also want to apologize if you've ever purchased a course from me. YouTube made these changes, and I was recently brought into awareness of that. That videos made before 2017 that were set up as unlisted videos now went private, and I didn't know. So if you purchased a course and you wanted to rewatch it and it wasn't available, it wasn't because of me. It's because YouTube randomly or automatically made them private. So I have to change those settings now. I'll be working on that. So I do apologize if some of you were like, what the heck, where's my video? You know, that's why I always advise people, pull the video, download it. There's so many programs now that you can actually turn a video and download it to your computer. Just, you know, type it in Google. Just make backups, you know. Nothing is ever permanent. You know, videos might be deleted from YouTube. I have all my courses on backup too. So if you ever purchased a course, you know, that's not my responsibility. How you get it to your computer is yours. You know, I can just share the link and give you all in that regards, but I will make those adjustments. And for those of you who maybe noticed there's something weird there, it's no dark magic. It's just, yeah, in a way it is, because as you know, they always do something that they bring extra work to us, that we have more work with these physical things, you know, instead of us just focusing on what we do best. And in my case, you know what that is. So I do apologize. I will shift those settings. But if you are still, you know, willing to purchase some of the courses, the way to start is where it is. And it's all on my webpage, Serapina Light. And until then, that I'm back, I will see you. And I love you as always. So much love, wisdom, and power. Take care. And with illumined love in my heart, I'm going to send this beautiful big ray of golden white light to all of you. And I will see you. Bye for now.